welcome back to my channel. So I want to talk about Brittney and Andy in last night's episode because I feel like Brittney was really starting to show her true colors. So things seemed fine at first when Andy was driving Brittney all over the place, giving her $500 as a get out of prison present, and they're jumping in pools and he's buying her hotel rooms. But now she's switched up when it's time to hang out with Andy, and that's the last thing she wants to happen. So she's sitting in her hotel room by herself, and she woke up already, and she's pissed off. She's not in a good mood. And then Andy just strolls on up, knocks on the door, and Brittney opens it, and she looked like she wanted to slam that door right back in his face. You could tell Brittney didn't want to let him back in that room when he was initially knocking on the door. And she did not want to be anywhere near that man when they're in the same room. You could tell just his mere presence just irked her. He's trying to come check in on his girlfriend, bring her coffee, and she declined it. And she just got an attitude. So he's like, what's wrong? And she says that she's upset because her and Gracie are arguing and things are awkward for her because she's still trying to get used to everything and she's feeling overwhelmed. So Andy was like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Because Andy showed up and he's got his bags packed up and he's got his son thinking that they're about to leave the hotel. And that's what he thought was going to happen. And he's showing up and he sees that she's not ready at all. She doesn't have any of her stuff packed. She seems like she ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So Andy was trying to figure out what was going on because Brittney wasn't communicating very well what exactly she needed and what the plans were. So Andy was like, look, I'm going to give my opinion even though you didn't ask for it. And I'm sure he ended up regretting giving his opinion later on. But he said, you know, I know how much of a trigger your daughter can be for you and I'm already packed up and I thought we were going to leave, so let's go ahead and go home. So Brittney, that just made her super upset. But I feel like Brittney was just on the attack and no matter what he said that she was just going to come with a clap back no matter what. So Brittney was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just up and leave Gracie? And Andy made a valid point. He's like, she's already left because she left the night before. And Andy was as confused as can be because he woke up and Brittney's a whole different person. As he was telling his friend on the phone, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. So she was like, you know, so you can either be here with me and be all in or you can leave. And he ended up leaving. And she acted like she was super upset with that, but you could tell when he was walking off, she was so relieved. And even if he chose to stay, I felt like she would have just came up with another excuse to eventually push him away. I just feel she's being incredibly self-absorbed and using her daughter as a crutch because the man is just trying to figure out what's going on. Like, the man lives in a trailer. He doesn't seem like the type to be able just to afford to keep spending all these extra nights at a hotel. And he's got his son on standby waiting to figure out whatever you got going on for their next move. And he needs to know what's going on. And I just think that's very selfish of her to just think that it's all about her. Because Andy, he's had to spend 3 nights in the hotel now. You can tell he's starting to get a little stressed out. And I just think she needs to be more mindful. Like, it just seems like she's using Gracie's excuse to not be around Andy and picking fights over anything. It just reminds me so much of Brandon. Like, once it came time to actually sit down and spend time with Chaz, she got so triggered, and that's the last thing she wants to do. And that's what most couples we see on this show. You know, they're in a rush to get out and hook up, and that's the last thing Brittney wants to happen right now. You know, I'm sorry I'm not taking away from what the daughter is going through, but just does not seem like Brittney really is that concerned, because if she was as concerned as she says she is, then she would have got up her butt and did something about it instead of just sitting around in limbo in a hotel room like she's got Andy and his son. Like, if you were that concerned, you should have did something when she was driving away. Kind of like how I felt like when she was in the room with her daughter and her daughter was just breaking down. She should have just stopped what she was doing and gave her daughter a hug, and that would have made a world of a difference. So I just feel like Brittney never found Andy attractive. She accepted all the gifts and expected him to just sit around like a lapdog. I think he just needs to cut his losses and stop wasting him and his son's time. But I get that he wants to stick around and try to see it through because he's invested not only a whole bunch financially, but a whole bunch emotionally and time. It's just so obvious that she's not into this man at all. Like, you can tell she's disgusted by him, and she was able to like put out the front for like the first day, like Brandon was able to, and then after the first day she got tired trying to pretend, and she got grossed out by him and the mask fell off. And I'm not gonna lie, this part got on my nerves. So when Andy left the room, she started to try to come up with any dirt she had on Andy to try to like justify her actions. So she started dragging him and his character because he was a former cop on Cage Ladies. But I mean, it goes both ways because you're also an inmate on that website. So what were you trying to do? And even Brittney admitted at the end of the episode, like, look, I was there and I was just trying to find a friend, and then ended up becoming something more. So I think she made it pretty clear when she said that she was just looking for financial support. And she sold this man a dream so she could continue to get that coin. And I mean, I hate to say it, but Andy pointed out, like, look, I just gave the girl $500. She told me situations like this trigger her. And he thinks that's a valid concern. He's scared that she may be trying to go relapse. And, as someone who used drugs in my past years ago, this was something I used to do when I wanted to use. I would push people away so I could be by myself and make bad decisions. I do also have to point this out because I did point this out like 3 episodes ago, because when they're talking about Andy writing Brittney, they're showing all these pictures, and I was assuming those were the pictures he was sending her. And in all those pictures, he looked like he was in his early 20s. And I said then, like, if those were the only pictures she had of him, she might get out and think she got catfished. I can't remember if they ended up meeting before she got out of prison, like if he ever went to visit her or not. But that could be a legit concern. But at this point, Brittney just needs to tell this man how she feels and just that she's not into him, and stop dragging this out so Andy and his son can go the hell home. Because he's got his son waiting around. He walked in and he had his hands on his knees. And when your dad looks like that and sits down like that, he means business. So after Andy left Brittney's room, she ended up leaving with her daughter Gracie. So he sits down with his son, and he's telling his son, like, look, she just left with her daughter. And his son was like, well, what happened before that? And, this made me upset because I feel like he should have been transparent with his son. I don't know if he was trying to protect Brittney or what. But he's like, I don't know. We didn't talk. I don't know what happened. He just played dumb to the whole situation. But Barry, he's not slow. He was able to put the pieces together and realize that his dad just got played. So as soon as his dad told him, look, I'm going to go pack the bags, I'll be right back, his son picks up the phone real quick, and he's already calling his sister, spill all the tea. And the sister was like, so in conclusion, you got played. And the sister already knew what was up. She's the one that called this. And I feel like that's kind of why Andy's walking around with his tail between his legs, because he knew that his kids had warned him about this before this happened. I think Andy's starting to realize that this could potentially be the end of him and Brittney. See, but what I think is going to happen is Brittney's going to probably start trying to do as much digging as she can into Andy's past, and she's going to try to talk to his exes and people who don't like Andy and try to get all the tea she can get. And I feel like she's going to use some of that against him as an excuse why she's not messing with him, as an excuse to break up with him. Because we can already tell Brittney is a master manipulator, and she'll always find a way to make it seem like somebody else's fault. And we already know that some of this is true because the wife came out. Well, she's in the process of getting divorced. I think they are now divorced, or they recently filed for divorce. And the wife came out and she said that Brittney didn't even know he was married, and then she found out he was married, and then she ended up leaving him. And it's not like just like somebody that you're married to and you've been split up for a while. He was still talking to the wife here and there and hitting her up on the side, according to her, while he was still with Brittney. But that could have very well been when Brittney was doing all this to him and he was upset. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he was hitting up his ex-wife as someone to seek the counsel of about this situation and get some advice, but also seeking out her comfort too. Which Andy should not be doing this if he's still in a relationship with Brittney. And I feel like if Brittney finds out about this, she's going to take it and run with it and use it to her advantage. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check out my lashes and lash products at AccordingtoAmber.com. I have a lot of lashes you can use for Halloween coming up. And you can use my code AMBER and get free shipping on all orders over $35. Some of my lashes you can get on my site as low as a little under $5 on sale right now. So check that if you're interested at AccordingtoAmber.com. I also have some color changing lip gloss and lip oil that will be launching in the next few weeks. And they also work as lip stains as well. So I'm super excited and I can't wait to share those with you guys once they are released. But give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.